LGUs, communities, and civil societies are also encouraged to be involved. Last September 2020, anti-mining advocates from Alianza Tigil Mina protested outside Department of Environment and Natural Resources headquarters along Visayas Avenue in Quezon City. They shouted to stop the mining operations despite the pandemic. The Environment Department endorsed mining as a way for country to recover economically. As social movements are important to enhance governance capacity to promote equity as it reinforces the relationship between inequity and maldistribution of power. Social movements as an avenue to enhance public participation in governance, particularly pertaining to sustainable development, is a great move. The inclusion of social movement in the discussion of promoting sustainable development is significant as it reflects the voices of people, usually who are being left out and often be victim of unsustainable practices. Thus, by public participation, better governance for sustainable development could be achieved. The engagement of various stakeholders remained limited over the 3 years of the implementation of 2030 Agenda. The potential to get the stakeholders engaged in 2030 Agenda is very vital but remained untapped. As the government is the prime responsible in implementing the SDGs, national and international civil society still had a huge role in making the initiative move forward. Non-participation of civil society in monitoring and reporting of the progress towards sustainable development goals would mean a failure in capturing the activity and would cause failure to mobilize future activities. The 2030 Agenda requires the inclusion of civil society in the governmental frameworks for sustainable development goals through formal mechanisms in order to reach every citizen. Due to weak collaboration mechanism of lack of political will as well, engagement of stakeholders in the national level remains a challenge. Their participation at the national level is inconsistent and sometimes inexistent. Countries that facilitate engagement of civil society are selective in reporting feedbacks from civil society. According to the 2018 survey, 66% are frustrated as participation is very challenging. Other obstacles are identified as lack of transparency of the government and superficial consultation, lack of funding and suppression of NGOs by government, and a lot of civil society attempted to engage with sustainable development goals in an ad hoc manner rather than cohesive and consistent civil society voice as a response to the challenges. With the absence of united voice, civil society will continuously be excluded in the 2030 Agenda. The role of research community in linking knowledge to action is very vital in attaining sustainability. Through the multidisciplinary studies, knowledge from various actors across various interests will be considered for an inclusive pursuit for sustainable development. The traditional knowledge of indigenous people are also essential as they cultivate a sustainable way for living by balancing human-nature interaction. Thus, their way of sustainable living is an essential model for sustainable development. Also, the participation of civil society groups through social movements are vital to enhance the governance capacities to secure equitable distribution of power and resources for a more sustainable way of living. This validates